In the top stories, sensitive launched to tackle plastic pollution in St. Mary's Biosphere Reserve. Dominica's new ambassador to OECS and CARICOM highlights key policy priorities. And Vice President urges NATO to increase defense spending ahead of key security meeting. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Friday, February 14th, 2025. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey. Nationally, a new sensitization project focused on reducing plastic pollution is set to engage communities in Cayon, Keys, Canada Estate, and Otley's over the coming months. The initiative, called the Sensitization on the Elimination of Single-Use Plastics in the St. Mary's Biosphere Reserve, is funded by UNESCO and implemented by the National Man and the Biosphere, or MAB, Committee. The St. Mary's Biosphere Reserve, a protected area with diverse ecosystems like cloud forests, mangroves, and coral reefs, is the central focus of the project. National Coordinator of the Reserve, Telka Wallace, during her appearance on the February 12th edition of In Focus, explained that the project was designed before the phased ban on single-use plastics was enacted, but it will now play a crucial role in guiding the national transition away from plastic usage. She explained that the first activity is a 2-week survey starting February 19th, aimed at gauging community perceptions of the ban.
The survey, which speaks to how people feel about the ban, what are their thoughts, how do they perceive plastics, do they see plastics as being dangerous, harmful, what are they doing within their households to absorb, to address the ban on the plastics, and as a community, what positives do you see coming out of the ban?
A national consultation with stakeholders will follow, where survey findings will be shared and strategies discussed. Wallace urged full community participation in the campaign.
We want the communities to embrace, we call it the cabin, the map, the knowledge, attitudes, and behavior of people in the map. And again, that came up from the young people, cabin the map. And so we want persons to embrace this, because this is a way for us to know where we are, to do a measurement of where we are. And so when this information comes back and it is analyzed by yours truly, because Lynelle is very talented in that she came up with the questionnaire and we were able to look at it. The Secretary General, myself, and others have looked at it to make sure that it reflects exactly what we want to go out there with. So when the information comes back, we will be able to analyze that data.
The project runs until September 2025 and aligns with upcoming plastic bans, including a ban on plastic t-shirt bags by March 31st, 2025, and styrofoam containers and plastic straws by April 30th, 2025. Further bans on plastic cups, plates, and utensils will follow by late 2025. President of the Media Association of St. Kitts and Nevis, Andre Huey, says press freedom remains an underreported or overlooked challenge in the Caribbean. He made the remarks on ZIZ's The Edge on Thursday, where the association appeared in observance of World Radio Day.
We are also a member of the Association of Caribbean Media Workers, which I'm also a board member of that association. And when we do have our meetings, we try to look at what's happening across the region in terms of new developments, also in terms of threats, because there are journalists across the Caribbean. While the Caribbean largely is a place where journalists work peacefully, and they're no, with the exception of maybe Haiti and some other places, there are still issues of press freedom that occurs in the Caribbean that are either underreported or not being known.
Huey said the Media Association of St. Kitts and Nevis, along with the Association of Caribbean Media Workers, continues to support journalists and media professionals in St. Kitts and Nevis and throughout the region. He highlighted training opportunities and fellowships as part of this support.
And so as an association, the ACM takes keen focus on these things. Anything that comes up, they're reported to the ACM. The ACM first order of business is issuing a statement condemning any acts or anything that threatens press freedom in any of the member countries. And then once that happens, then if there's need to take further steps, we do that because the ACM has international partners that we can call on to provide support. There are times, of course, when if there are things that happen in St. Kitts Nevis and I need or the association needs advice, we reach out to the ACM for advice, and they would render that to us.
That was Andre Huey, president of the Media Association of St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Thomas Primary School has emerged as the winner of the DeLille Walwyn and Company Limited Nevis Inter-Primary School Tourism Quiz. The first place winners were awarded a $300 loyalty card from TDC and lunch for 4 at Montpelier Plantation Inn and Beach. The competition, held on Thursday at the Nevis Performing Arts Center, was attended by Deputy Governor General Her Honor Hailita Liburd, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism John Hanley, and other tourism officials. It marked the return of the event after a 5-year break, with the previous sponsors being the Nisbet Plantation Beach Club Hotel. The competition featured 3 categories, each with 2 rounds of questions. Joycelyn Liburd Primary School secured 2nd place, while Maud Cross Preparatory School took 3rd place. The categories were Cultural Heritage, Geography and Environment, and Caribbean Tourism. We move now to news on the regional scene. Dominica's new ambassador to the OECS and CARICOM, Dr. Gerard Jean-Jacques, highlighted critical policy areas including climate change, renewable energy, food security, and education during a virtual ceremony on February 7th. He emphasized the need for regional collaboration and greater investment in artificial intelligence to address challenges faced by small states. Dr. Jean-Jacques also called for strategic reconfiguration of CARICOM's intra-regional networks and new partnerships aligned with its development goals. He urged more investments in education, training, and support for small businesses, referencing Dominica's efforts to improve access to financing. Caribbean Airlines, or CAL, recorded an operating profit of US $12.1 million in 2024, marking a 51% decline from the US $24.7 million earned in 2023, according to Trinidad and Tobago's Finance Minister Colm Imbert. Speaking at a customer appreciation event, Imbert highlighted the airline's significant turnaround in 2023 when it rebounded from an operating loss of US $36.7 million in 2022 to a US $24.7 million profit the following year. However, in 2024, profits dropped due to rising maintenance, handling, and security costs in flight operations. Despite these challenges, CAL's total revenue increased by 5.2% in 2024, reaching US $444.6 million. Imbert noted that while competition led to a US $15 per passenger decline on international routes, the airline's financial resilience and strategic initiatives contributed to the revenue growth. Internationally, in a strong message delivered ahead of a significant security conference in Europe, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance emphasized the United States' demand for NATO allies to enhance their defense spending. The call comes at a time of heightened concern and uncertainty regarding U.S. foreign policy under President Donald Trump's administration. The issue of Ukraine's future has become the focal point of discussions at the Munich Security Conference. This follows a recent phone conversation between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President President Vladimir Putin, in which both leaders expressed their commitment to working together to bring an end to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, which has now persisted for 3 years. Later on Friday, Vice President Vance is expected to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The talks are anticipated to provide valuable insights into Trump's stance on a potential negotiated resolution to the war, with many observers, particularly in Europe, closely watching for any signs of a shift in U.S. policy regarding the conflict. And finally, in international news, Southern California was struck by the season's most powerful atmospheric river, triggering debris flows that swept a car off the highway and into the ocean, while also leaving roads submerged in thick sludge. Though the heavy rainfall began to ease on Thursday night, the danger of rock and mudslides persisted on Friday, particularly on wildfire-scarred hillsides. Experts warned that even after the rain ceased, the risk of dangerous slides remains high, especially in areas where vegetation that once anchored the soil has been destroyed by recent wildfires. One member of the Los Angeles Fire Department was inside the vehicle that was swept into the ocean near Malibu. Fortunately, the individual was able to exit the vehicle with only minor injuries, as confirmed by department spokesperson Eric Scott on the social media platform X. In Pacific Palisades, a major highway intersection was completely submerged by at least 3 feet of sludge, with some drivers attempting to navigate through the muck. Police officers were seen helping push vehicles through the thick debris. Meanwhile, bulldozers were deployed to clear the roads not far from where crews had recently cleared abandoned cars left stranded by the heavy traffic caused by last month's wildfire, where evacuees were forced to flee on foot. And now for the weather. Present weather is fair skies with slight dust haze. Winds are a fresh breeze of 18 miles per hour from the northeast. The temperature for today is 27 degrees Celsius or 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are 2.1 to 2.8 meters or 7 to 9 feet with swells of up to 1.8 meters or 6 feet. Therefore, a small craft advisory remains in effect. The weather forecast for today and tonight predicts partly cloudy skies with a 60% or moderate chance of showers. Sunset for today will be at 6:13 p.m. and sunrise for tomorrow will be at 6:37 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey.